Hello everyone, I'm finally back. I had to take some time off to accommodate some major life changes, and I can't think of a better way to return to normalcy than exploring some basic mid-2000s systems. The staple budget builds of back in the day. Let's tear into these. And boy does this thing scream early 2000s. It's one of those designs that's so similar to others that I swear I've seen it before. And despite the look of it, this case is actually not great. It's made of that ultra thin sheet metal that gets dented so easily. And it has, as you'll see, and I have no idea what Micom Systems is, but I'm guessing that's whoever birthed this thing. And I see we're sporting a Heleron. Guess they cheaped out on the case and the CPU. They didn't cheap out on the floppy drive though, made by Sony. And for some reason this shape reminds me of Jill of the Jungle. I don't know why, but it does. I'm guessing these are power and hard drive LEDs, and I'm guessing this is the reset switch. And I'm guessing that's the power switch. So I have no idea what this switch does. Oh wait, that's not a switch. That does nothing. I've seen this whole thing going on other cases, and on those that was a reset switch, but clearly not here. And behind this cover is, you guessed it, USB, with optional punch outs for audio and FireWire. And up top we have a DVD burner, and I swear I recognize it. I can't quite identify the brand. It does look awfully familiar though. And there's our Windows XP COA sticker, an OEM COA sticker, so that Micom Systems must have been some kind of something. And I don't know if you can see it, but check out that footprint. So somebody just stepped right on this thing. These systems get no respect. And here's the back. Not much to see. Got a lone dial-up modem there, with everything else on board, including a NIC. But at least we got a real serial port. Alright, let's get into this thing. And now you can see the damage. See, we're pretty dinged up around the end of this swooshiness here. And yeah, it's just got that tin can feel. There's no substance to it. Super thin sheet metal. Let's just get it de-screwed. Let's see if that'll even slide. Didn't want to at first, but no choice. And they took the hard drive out. Boo. Classic MSI Red. And that's an MSI MS-6787, version 2. Luckily the capacitors don't look too plaguey. Let's get that dial-up modem out. And that's a standard fare El Cheapo 56K dial-up modem with the A-Gear chipset. Common fodder in the early 2000s. I'll add it to the collection. And you may be wondering what this slot is. That's a CNR slot, or Communications Network Riser, and they accepted only either modems or Ethernet NICs, and nothing else, thus saving the motherboard manufacturer potentially tens of cents. Okay, let's get everything deplugged. Now let's see that Heleron. Why do these clips get on my nerves so much? They just hook on everything. Now that thing's probably stuck to the CPU. Yeah, it feels like it. Oh, there it goes. We made it. And yeah, that's a Heleron. Man, that thermal crapola is going to take some scraping. I'm going to try not to get it everywhere. Actually, this stuff's surprisingly pliant. Maybe I can get it off with alcohol. Yeah, it took forever, but it did come off. Left some stragglers behind. Now let's get that thing out of there. Gotta find just the right angle for readability. And there it is. Intel Celeron, 2.6 GHz, 128K cache, and 400 MHz frontside bus. And all the pins look decent. Let's get it back in there. Let's see what we have on the RAM side. Man, this RAM is amped. Or is that amp or ampo? I'm gonna go with ampo. Sounds more ridiculous. But it is a 256 meg stick of DDR1, PC2700. That apparently cost $45. What's that in today's money? Alright, now it's the heatsink's turn. Let's get this fan off. You know, it's actually pretty clean, especially considering the age of it. Yeah, I barely got anything out of either of those. Now, time to struggle to get this old thermal pad off. Okay, it's actually easier than I thought. These things are normally pretty stuck. Let's see if the magic eraser can make that even better. Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, I'd say that's clean. Let's just make sure that fan's any good. Yeah, good enough. That will do. Okay, now let's get it back on. Now let's run through these drives. Hey, there's another one of those price tag / warranty labels. This thing costs 12 bucks for a good old MPF 920. Manufactured September 2004. Let's clean this thing up. Yeah, this thing is remarkably dust-free. Probably on account of it not having a case fan, which is not great, but sure saves me some work. Still gotta clean and grease it though. Yeah, no trouble. And there's the DVD drive, made by Light On in January 2005. So everything seems to be hovering around that time period. But there's no weird pricey warranty stickers on this thing. And that power supply is really called Max Power. I wonder if they got the name from a hairdryer. I personally would have gone with Hercules Rockefeller. Maybe that's the only one they could have spelled correctly. Okay, now I have to go watch that episode. But there's certainly nothing Max about this power supply. It's so light I don't believe there really is a circuit board inside. And these wires are so incredibly thin. I don't know how they carry any current. And that QC sticker has this thing dated as December 2001, so a little bit older than the rest of the system. I wonder if this power supply came with the case. So I wonder what the case's name is. I'm going to wager a guess and say it was Trent Steel. I hope the sacrificial hard drives are ready to feel the G's, because Max Power doesn't snuggle. Let's see. Aha! Max Power lives up to his name. Decisive, uncompromising, and rude. And that's 5 minutes, and it did just fine. And that's the end of that chapter. Alright, Max Power. Let's see if you have any power at all. Flipping the AC switch now. No explosions or rude premature power-ons. Let's hit it. Hey, it does have the power. And it is posting. But I did forget a boot disk. We'll just start with DOS, why not? Ew, that's not good. Either drive bad or disk bad. Let's try another disk. Not my DOS 622 disk. I'm using that thing for over a year. Oh, the 198 boot disk works. Let's boot with CD-ROM support. Max Power. He's the man. That drive sounds great. What about the DVD drive? A little dusty. What you got? Couldn't tell if that was a successful spin up or not. Let's see. And it was. It is always nice to have a working IDE DVD burner. Just never know when you're going to need one. Let's actually go ahead and boot to Canopix and get some more info on this thing. Let's get the floppy disk out. And we'll see if the reboot button works. And it does. How about that? Let's go. Uh-oh. I/O errors. That disk is pretty beat up. It's been knocking around here for a while. I guess that's not totally unbelievable. Seems like it's still going though. Well, I guess those I/O errors weren't too bad. We made it. Let's get some info. Ooh, I opened two. Uh-oh. I think we just froze. At least the mouse did. Did we really? Maybe. Maybe the X server froze. Guess those errors were bad. Can we at least break out to virtual terminal? No, we cannot. None of them. So I guess I need another Canopix 3.8 disk. I'm just wearing them out, aren't I? And since Canopix likes to lock the CD-ROM drive door, I'm gonna have to give it a hard reboot and then eject it. Pretty sure Canopix 7 will still like this hardware. Do it. Wow, that resolution got small. Okay, there's some weird stuff going on. And I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Oh, it's getting weirder. What is happening? Well, I guess Compiz broke everything. But I should still at least get virtual terminal, right? Yeah, but it's tiny. I'm gonna have to zoom that in post. What kind of GPU is this? Ooh, everything's VIA. I can't believe Compiz tried to load on that. The VIA Pro Savage. And I guess those I/O errors were just because of the bad disk, because I didn't see any on this boot. Let's see. Yeah, looks clean. But you know what, actually, let's grep for error. No errors. Let's try ignoring case. Okay, it's clean. Well, that is some weird character corruption there. Some strange things going on. Wonder if max power is to blame. Alright, well, nothing much else to see here. Let's shut this thing down. Yoink. I'm still surprised we didn't find any plaguey caps. I guess no capacitor would dare leak in the presence of max power. What a magnetic individual he is. And this thing is such a screaming testament to mid-2000s basicness. So glad we could capture one alive. Let's move on to the next system. And for the next system we have more basicness. But at least they gave us a splash of color here. Nothing says 2000s like slopey buttons. And I recognize that CD-ROM drive. Pretty sure it's a Toshiba, possibly harvested from a Dell. And I can see it is or was G drive, so helpfully labeled. And the side of the case has some granny instructions, some of which is somewhat legible. It's hard to tell, but is that a date? Looks like it says April 7th, 2004. Why would they put a date on their granny instructions? So you mean to tell me that Granny had no use for a sound card? There had to be one in here at some point. Granny was rocking the high-speed internet though. We got Ethernet. And what's that serial port so mad about? Looks like it's going "Arrgh." No doubt on account of being whacked. I'd be mad too. Let's get this thing open. Oh yeah, that's a mid-2000s design for sure. This bulbous, semi-human-like singular logo looking thing. We did like our bulbousness back then. And somebody took the hard drive out of this one too. Grrr. They also took the RAM. And hey, it's got one of those light up fans we all loved back then. Made by Nice Cooler. I wonder how nice it really is. This being before the days of RGB, you were lucky to get one of those colors. And this motherboard's actually a workstation board, as indicated by the AGP Pro slot. These are actually backwards compatible with regular AGP slots. You just have to make sure you keep that safety tab in place. What for not frying the video card and or the motherboard, because AGP Pro operates on a higher voltage. And what kind of new devilry is this? Look at the way they skinnied out this PCI slot in order to fix the CNR slot there. That's too funny looking. I wonder if it made that PCI slot less reliable. There's a lot less room for the contacts to travel, because these contacts actually have to move out of the way when a card is inserted. And this seems like it's pretty easy to bend. I guess these contacts do still move, just to a lesser degree. Well, that's a new one for me. Alright, it's cable clearing time. Two floppy cables? What's going on here? Now, let's check out that NIC. Ah, a staple. The Realtek RTL8139. I love these cards for their no-fuss Linux compatibility. Back in the day, that was a premium. Now let's get that snarling serial port out of the way. He's not coming out without a fight. That is very bent. There we go. Alright, that CPU's got to be either a Pentium 3 or a Celeron. Let's find out. Oh, that is one psychotically uncomfortable heatsink clip. And it's a Pentium 3. Let's get it cleaned up. That was a lot harder than it looks. I edited out all the scraping, picking, and cursing. That thermal compound is very gummy. Let's pull that thing out of there. All pins looking as they should be. Impossible to focus. And that is a Pentium 3, 700 MHz, 256K of cache, and 100 MHz frontside bus. What more could you ask for? Let's put it back in there. I see somebody went to war with that heatsink lug there. There's just enough remaining to hold it on. Oh, this heatsink cleanup's gonna suck. Now you'll see what I'm talking about. Well, at least being soaked in alcohol makes it slightly easier. Let's see, can the magic eraser come through again? Yes, it can. Clean as can be. This one doesn't seem particularly dusty either. Just ever so slightly. Let's get that fan off. Come on. There we go. Barely any. But how it sound though? Sounds great. Squirt, squirt. And unlike with the last system, I'm not going to forget to change the battery. Although that one must have had some kind of charge because it didn't complain. Let's see if this one does. That's a big fat no. Now for RAM, I'm going to stick a PC100 in there. 128 megs. That's right, kids. This was before DDR. Okay, I gotta see what that fan looks like. It's just killing me not knowing. Oh, it is RGB! The roots run deeper than we realize. Let me kill these shop lights. Oh, that is pretty. It's the granddaddy of RGB. Okay, I'm gonna turn the shop lights back on now. Shield your eyes. Ah, my corneas! And everything else. Let's drive. Hey, the floppy drive is made by NEC. NEC made some good stuff back in the day. Model number FD1231H, made in 1997. Seems like it's pretty dirty inside. Let's see. Yep, it's a mess. But fortunately not too big of a mess. Alright, let's do the cleany greasy thing. Man, this one's got that sensor I gotta watch out for. And the CD drive is indeed a Toshiba. Hooray! I have a superfluous superpower, identifying CD-ROM drives. And we were made in September 1997. Well, max power may be a tough act to follow, but this power supply has its own set of ridiculous hyperbole. For example, it has double security, and it protects circuit. Can your power supply do that? It also supports up to 1.2 gigahertz. Fantastic. All this brought to you by High Vision Industrial Corp. And it is of course so light it feels like it's made of balloons. And naturally has an absurd power output claim. Yeah, I don't see this thing putting out 300 watts. No way. Well, let's see if it protects our circuits. Well, maybe it did, because it obviously isn't doing much else. Let's give that one more try. And that was even less. Yep, that thing's dead. Max power wouldn't have failed us. When are we just going to get a nice theatric explosion out of one of these? These cheap power supply makers need to do better. We demand entertainment. That's okay. The surrogate Corsair will get us through. I'm going to try that DOS 622 boot disk one more time, because I refuse to believe it's dead. Let's send it some power. No premature power ons. Let's hit it. Ooh, this sounded funny. It is posting though. What was that one little fake beep? Okay, and we booted straight to the BIOS, because apparently it wants CPU configuration. I thought that would have been automatic by now. Let's set 700 megahertz. Save that. It's funny, that beep has a stutter. Yeah, see, there's nothing wrong with that disk. Wonder why the other system didn't like it. See? All it took was an NEC drive. And Toshiba doesn't have quite the same rep, but let's see what it does anyway. Ugh, makes a bunch of noise. That's one thing. Oh, it spit it right back out. It's like, what are you trying to do to me? Doesn't look like it even rotated the disc. Let's see. Yeah, sure didn't. Let's try a professional CD. Yeah, that thing's hooped. Oh well. Okay, now I have to figure out how to keep it closed. Ha! Can't do nothing about that, can you? Yeah, you knew I couldn't leave it alone. Let's see if we can figure out what's up with this thing. I'm pretty sure the spindle's just not engaging, so let's give it some power. Yeah, it's not coming up. That mechanism should lift up to engage the disc. This might just be a lubrication issue. Maybe if I just give it a gentle smack. Aha, there it goes. Yeah, it's trying to do its thing. Okay, so let's pull this disc tray out and see if some white lithium grease will help. Let's just put it in the eject position and hit the power button. Okay, first I have to get this off. Looks like it just clips in. Simple enough. Let's see if we just pull this right out of there. Now let's see which one of these gizmos lifts that mechanism. It's that one. And it doesn't seem too bad, although, yeah, I feel a little bit of stiction right there in that little cam. Let's just get a wee bit of grease in there. Doesn't look like there's any grease at all on this thing. That's probably why his gears sound horrible. Let's work that in. Still grabbing. I think this might just be worn out. I'm also gonna grease the little channel on the disc tray. Let's see if that improves things. Let's just get this back in place. Otherwise things may go massively haywire. Alright, let's see. No, that didn't do it. That plastic just may be too clearanced. Oh no, there it went. Maybe it just needs some exercise. Let's just hit it a couple more times. It might have done it. Let's just see if it looks like it could spin up. Yeah, it looks like it might want to. Well, let's get it back in there and see if it works. Alright, let's try this again. Ah, I heard it engage. Doesn't seem like it tried the CD-ROM boot, but it also sounds like it's struggling. It may not be capable of reading CDRs. Let's just get it in DOS and see if we can read the disk. That's a big fat no. So let's try the AOL CD. Retry. Yeah, that thing doesn't work correctly. Sometimes it happens like that. Let's just give it one more chance. Nope, ain't having it. Oh well, can't win them all. There's probably more things I can do for it, but I gotta get this video out. It's already massively delayed. Well, at least the important bits work. I have no shortage of CD-ROM drives. Plenty here to satiate my retro computing demands. I'm not too fond of those Toshiba drives anyway. They all seem to develop that horrible gear sound. At least the beltless direct drive ones do. But otherwise, great motherboard and great case. There's really very little damage to this case. Just a little insignificant ding in the top. It's still so weird to think of this as like a classic design. We never saw the future coming. Ah, now I feel better. That was definitely like therapy for me. Definitely the most normal I've felt all month. So long story short, I had to move house, which of course meant moving my massive hoard of systems, as well as the bench, and I never ever want to do it again. I tried to recreate the bench setup exactly like I had it, because apparently I'm hopelessly dependent on routine. I'd like to give a huge thanks to all the patrons and channel supporters, without which this channel would not be happening. They provide the funds I need to acquire these systems, which are slowly becoming more expensive and harder to obtain. Thank you all for helping continue the madness. And that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.